I want to share a story in the hopes that it would help our faith. It would inspire us to continue to walk by faith. Jesus said something. He says, "When the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" It's going to be a walk of faith is going to be so crucial as times get tough. So this story comes out of the Old Testament, Numbers chapter 13. Please bear with me. There's a lot we can learn from that. Now, in the story, God had promised the land to the Israelites. Okay, and but the land was already occupied by a certain people already. So this is God's plan that He will take the Israelites there. They will defeat the people, conquer them, and take over the land. But before that happened, the Israelites decided they would send out spies to go and spy out the land and perhaps check it out to see which people live on it and if the land is good, even though God has told them it was a good land. And they went and brought back their report to the people. 10 of them gave their report and they said, yes, the land is good. It is awesome, as the Lord said. It's exactly that. But it's occupied by giants. And they actually said that compared to the giants, they are like grasshoppers. In other words, there is no way they're going to be able to conquer these giants in order to take over the land. Even though God had told them that He would do it, they doubted and they began to talk a lot of fear. The people that they were speaking to began to fear as well. And the whole thing it turned into like complaining, murmuring against God. And that's what it does. Like when people get under fear and doubts, complaining and murmuring also shows up. And that was the situation there. There was only two out of the 12, Joshua and Caleb, and they came back with a different report. And they said, the land is good. And yes, there are giants, but God is still able. God is still able. God is able to still use us to conquer them and take over the land. It's interesting because in the Bible, the way the report of the first group, the 10, is described, God described it as an evil report. An evil report which put a lot of fear in people, which so limited God. And God was angry. And God says, you know what? These 10 and all those that believe them, they will not see that land. Only Joshua and Caleb ended up inheriting the land. Why? Because the rest had unbelief. They didn't walk by faith. Joshua and Caleb, they walk by faith. But it's important to understand something here, because whenever we're taking steps of fear, it's not that simple. We are limiting God. We limit God. See, when they were talking about the giants and how big they are and compared to themselves and how small they are, and it's more like in our time we'll be talking about how big a certain situation is and how we don't see any way around it, and it's the same thing. But what are we doing? We are limiting the Father. We are limiting Jesus. We are limiting Him. However, if we just acknowledge, yes, this situation is big, of course it's big if you are the one to tackle it yourself. But bring God into the picture, and all of a sudden the situation is small. Why? Because God is greater than every situation. You see. So, brethren, this is an encouragement during these times, and we know things are getting tougher and tougher, and it will get tougher. Let your God be greater and greater and greater as we continue to walk with Him. Don't look at things and try to think that you have to handle it by yourself. You need to be walking with God. We need to be walking with God. Faith comes from that walk with God. You see, so that you're not relying on your own strength, you're relying on Him. Let's stop limiting the Father, because we limit Him in the way we think, when we're controlled by fear, in what we do, the actions we take, the decisions we're making. If it's not controlled by God 100%, it will be driven by fear, and we limit God. Let's give God glory in our decisions and in our actions. Be blessed, family, in Jesus' name.